months ago, we approved the authorization for an RFP for the potential to consolidate police resources, administrative services with some of the surrounding towns. And that went out. There were some bids that came in. There were 3, as a matter of fact. And the mayors of the towns have selected one of the 3 submissions. And they're at the point now where they would like to proceed and go forward with the actual study. The costs for the study would be, the towns involved would be Haddonfield, Collingswood, Ephraim, Oaklyn, Audubon, and Haddon Township. And the cost would be for Haddonfield, $22,660, Collingswood, $22,660. Now, Ephraim, looks like 3 payments of $3,531. Oaklyn, $10,594. Audubon, $15,009. And Township, $23,543. They came up with this means of paying for it based upon the number of police officers in the department. So I thought I would bring this up to see if there was any interest. You know, when the RFP was issued, there was no funds expended, and we agreed, since there were no funds expended, to go forward with that. But at this point, we're going to, if we want to go forward, commit to the expenditure of funds for this study. I thought I would bring it up, let everybody know where it stands, see if there's any questions, and see if there's an interest in moving forward.
I would just like to say I don't really support the idea of moving forward with the study. We have basically the medium of shared services that we've incorporated in Haddon Township really for the past few years since we've gotten elected. Specifically, we share a chief financial officer, a tax assessor, a tax collector, a clerk. I don't really see why spending $23,500 at this point should be pursued when those avenues are out there, and in this particular case, the police chief, haven't even been explored. I know that some surrounding communities either have a police chief that is either retired or considering retirement. I think the appropriate next step, based on the precedent, is that we evaluate a shared service of sharing of a police chief in these cases if it's an option for these towns. And the other issue is, speaking just from my own experience, I don't hear a lot of feedback from the public pursuing sharing administrative services in Haddon Township. Since we've introduced that ordinance a few months ago, again, no one has approached me and said either way whether or not it's a good idea. I haven't heard word one about it. So again, my recommendation is not to pursue the shared service program for the study.
Mr. Dougherty, do you have any?
Is the scope larger? Obviously, it's larger than just the chief, right?
Yes, and it includes other administrative type services.
Like detectives and police records, or just?
Yeah,
Doesn't
I
include
think
the
you could
rest of the rank and
encompass.
file, right?
It does not, no. I mean, I believe that the group is going to meet again, I think as soon as next week. If either one of you would like to go to that meeting, and you can discuss it with them further if you had any further questions.
No, I'd actually agree with Commissioner Foley. I don't like spend the monies, and I don't feel like the pro rata share based on the number of police officers is fair and equitable. I think the stake, voting stake is the same amount from Oakland regardless, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And unless it's equalized, at this point, I wouldn't be ready to go forward.
Okay. Thank you.
What do you think?
At this point, I agree with the two of you.
Reports for December, revenue report, budget status report, construction officials report, and tax collectors report.
And ask the clerk to file those reports as read.
That concludes our agenda business.
There being no further agenda business, I'd like to make a motion to open the meeting to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, how are you guys? I'm Ben Kissel. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak here. It's an honor to meet you, Mr. Commissioner Dougherty and Foley, and of course, Mr. And I will see you guys again in 2 months.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, John Schmidt, Gloucester City, New Jersey.
Are you against the repealing of the?
Let me applaud all of you in your decision not to go ahead with the Colonial Alliance. It's something that I've been involved with probably since the first report was leaked out last March. I think it's a totally wrong approach. I've been to almost every single township, borough involved, actually you're the only township. And the questions I posed to the elected officials, public safety director and the mayor of each town was, as part of this process, has officially the mayors or the public safety directors officially passed something in writing, sent a letter, or each town passed something authorizing an elected official designee to put something in writing with their counterparts from the colonials, towns, and officially ask the Chiefs Association and the chiefs to see what they can come up with before spending public funds. And that, a year later, people have been asking that question. I know Haddon Heights had asked that question early on. The answer is still no. Maybe that should be asked. Maybe there would be cost savings without a study.
I do want to just interject real quick. I think, and I mentioned when I spoke with you previously, that Mayor Teague did pose that question in one of the meetings where he did make it a point to say that they had not been asked and had inquired about their own input. And I don't know if that input has been taken under advisement yet, but I do know that Mayor Teague did ask the question.
Yeah, there was, at one point, there was I don't know if it was a formal letter or an email that included the chiefs to come to a meeting, and I forget if it was December or the beginning of January. I think it was in December. And there were some chiefs that were at that meeting, and there was some discussion. So there was, at the latter stages, there was some involvement with the chiefs.
As I said to another mayor, should have from the beginning. But thank you for your vote. If in the future this issue comes back up, I did hear a response from Commissioner Dougherty. He was uncomfortable with the cost share ratio. If each town was paying an equal share, with the current situation, that was the only difference. Each town was paying the same share. Would that have changed anyone's opinion?
It wouldn't have changed mine. Really, my opinion was there are mechanisms for sharing professional positions that are very popular and very encouraged, namely the sharing professional people like the CFOs, the clerks and stuff. I think that's, if you're going to, if need rises, that you have to pursue that first. This idea of spending $100,000 to pay a consultant to look at this seems unnecessary at the very least. And again, and the other side that I mentioned was the public has not presented any kind of an opinion on this. If you've been to all these meetings, how many members of the public have stood up and have said, boy, this is a great idea, guys, you need to consider this? Is that, in your experience, has that happened?
Once, and the majority of people who were at meetings didn't buy it, didn't like it.
So I guess to answer your question, I don't think that the pricing itself would have changed my mind.
I guess both of you are in agreement with that.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll say is that at the beginning of this process, I guess there was I'll say hope or understanding that there was going to be an entity that would have funded the study, and that did not occur. So, we're all here, I think all of us here are for cost savings, and I think even the chiefs are for cost savings to operate their departments and working together. So I think it is an interest that we all share. It just, maybe has to go about it a little bit differently.
It wouldn't change my mind per se. I'm more interested in the scope of the study. As Mayor Teague said 2 months ago, there wasn't a price on this. So it's one thing everybody, right, I think we're all interested in saving money for taxpayers, but not at our expense up front, not unless we know everyone's on the same page.
One final question, and you don't necessarily need to have an answer tonight, but it's something for you to consider. given public safety is an issue that really is a fabric of, mostly every single community. And really with the uncertainty of what, 5, 10 years, none of us knows the future of public safety in Camden County. With this Camden County Police Department lingering and past comments made by our freeholder director. Would this township governing body consider posing a question on the November ballot, asking if in the future a discussion or proposal comes before the governing body of this township to regionalize or consolidate police services, more than at the chief level? That question then would go to the voters to decide.
Well, in my opinion, if it's something where two neighboring towns are talking about merging a police department and it can be worked out similar to what we did with Audubon Park, which has worked out great for both towns. I don't know that a vote would be necessary. If it's something where we're considering folding up our police department and consolidating with, say, a regional or a Camden County Police Department, then I think there could be serious concerns of public safety, and I think that, I don't know that I would feel comfortable in just voting for that. I think that we would want to hear from the residents, not just those residents that come to the meeting, but those residents who would go out and vote for or against something like that. Again, we're all interested in cost savings. We're not interested at all in jeopardizing our public safety. We live in a small town. People move into small towns because they like being in a small town. They like going to a local school. They like having the local police. They like knowing their police chief. They like knowing their police officers. They feel comfortable that the police officers know their town, know where their streets are, know a lot of the people. So to get away from something like that would take a lot, at least for me. That would be my perspective anyway.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you.
Happy New Year, everybody.